So I came across this article on the Daily Mail, their female section. Why I'm proud to be a kept woman, mother of one 26 who lives off her partner's 25k income, insists critics aren't just bitter and reveals he has to ask her permission to spend his hard-earned cash. Now, this is not really something that was unusual, say, 50 years ago. Right, this was totally the norm. I mean, this was the complete norm of my grandparents' generation, when, like, my grandfather on my mum's side was a coal miner, and he would just come back from the mine on, like, a Friday or whatever day that got paid, black-faced, obviously, covered in soot, and he would just put his wage packet down on the table, and then go off and do whatever, get cleaned up, and then she'd give him like a few pence to be able to go down the pub that evening, because she was the one that controlled the household finances, because he was doing the work. Because, I mean, it sounds great to control household finances until you realise it's a job. It's not like that's what an accountant does. They're doing accountancy, and they're not. It's not about like being able to just spend whatever money you want. Things have to be paid for. The kids have to be accounted for, and all this sort of stuff. All the bills have to be paid. And then with whatever's left, you attend to everyone else's needs with whatever is remaining with the money. And it's just a job that needs to be done. And if the man's at work all day and the woman can pay the bills, then it makes sense for her to be the one who does that. And the thing is, it seems in my experience that women prefer handling the domestic finances. But what I love about this is that she's being told that she's lazy, and like she's like that she is a kept woman is how the Mail describe her. And I'm like, dude, they earn 25 grand a year. Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad wage, but it's not like they're rolling in money or anything, and they must be living within their means. Basically, this woman's working at Premier Inn as a housekeeper for 5 days a week and earning 10 grand a year, which is very, very little. And after her maternity leave, she decided she just didn't want to go back. And she went back for like 2 months, hated it because she wanted to spend her time with her kid. And her husband was like, well, okay, we can afford for you to leave. So she just left. And her friends and, ex-colleagues are kind of, in her opinion, they feel bitter about it. And I can believe it because she sounds really, really happy with this arrangement. While her and her husband are happy about this, she says, I get comments from strangers and it comes from a place of jealousy. What age are you meant to be a kept woman? Age is just a number. A lot of people feel bitter about it. Yeah, I bet they do. And I can see why, because it looks like these people have meaning in their lives. I mean, that looks like a happy family to me. And it looks like everyone has a role that they're happy to fulfill. She says that her partner Ryan likes being the breadwinner, and I can believe it. It's the feeling that you're providing for the family. It's a source of pride for him. He feels like he's responsible for everything we have, and we're grateful for it. If you can earn enough to say that you don't have to work if you don't want to, it makes you feel good. I bet it does. I think that being the breadwinner in a family is a source of meaning for a lot of men. It gives them purpose. It gives them a reason to get up and go and do their job every day. It's a form of self-motivation. I mean, in this article, this guy is a self-employed builder, and that's fantastic. I love it when people are self-employed. I think that more people should be, because it makes you more competitive as a person. It means every day you get up and you think, right, okay, how am I going to succeed today? Because the person I'm succeeding for is me, and not some boss, who's 5 levels remotely separated from you in a corporation, so he can get a better car or something like that with his bonus, Like, the bonuses come to you, the benefits come to you. Everyone, if you can, be an entrepreneur. And the great thing is, like, this guy is probably in his mid-20s now, and he's on 25k a year, which is fine. By the time he's like 40 or 50, he's going to be on like 60 or 70k a year. He's going to have a bunch of people under him. This guy, he's going to be a pillar of the community by this point. He'll have built something up, and he will have found meaning and purpose in it. He is not going to be a nihilistic millennial who's just looking around going, oh, I just don't know what to do with my life. I'm so depressed. He's got things he wants to do with his life. He wants to build his business. He wants to provide for his family. He wants to love his wife and raise his kids. That is meaning in a man's life. And I bet there are so many men who are desperately trying to get that, but because of the way that society has become restructured since feminism, this is just out of reach for a lot of men. And a lot of women feel that they shouldn't do this sort of thing anyway. But if they're making mean comments to this woman out of envy, it kind of makes you think that maybe a lot of women would like to do that. And the thing is, it gives this woman a lot more freedom than she had before. She says all her friends have 9 to 5 jobs and find it bizarre that she has time to call them throughout the day. Some of my friends do comment things. I had a friend who I went to call the other day and she replied, I'm at my 9 to 5 job. For some people, it's less because I'm lazy and more because they wish they could do it. Yeah, I bet it is. If you're not working in something you particularly care about, 9 to 5, then you're just filling a seat and earning money because you need the money. And, I mean, that's, I guess we'd call you a wage slave, wouldn't we? And I guess we use the term wage slave because it doesn't feel like freedom, does it? I work my arse off every day, and like every single day I get up, I check my emails, check my messages, see what's happened while I was asleep, catch up on what's going on, and then I get to work. And I don't even know like how I necessarily quantify my work. Like at the moment, obviously I'm working on the Crusade video. I'm also doing like various other studying on various things, and then I've got to keep up with stuff that's happening. I have to research topics, and then I have to make videos about these things. And I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it because I get up and I'm like, right, how can I make an impact today? What can I do? What can I achieve today? It makes me want to get better, and it makes me actively work to get better. And I spend all the hours of the day doing it when I'm not spending time with my family. And I can see why these people who are like, oh God, now, I mean, like back when I used to be an office drone as well, I used to hate having to get up and go to work, obviously, and then I would sit at work and do anything to distract myself, like listen to audiobooks or whatever, just to help the time pass while I was doing something mundane on the computer. And I can see why there'd be a lot of women who are looking at that and then looking at this woman who just gets to go out to the park in the middle of the day and play with their kids and think, maybe I should have got married. She says that she returned to work for 2 months, but it made her miserable. He was earning to sustain her, so Ryan said, look, you don't have to work if you don't want to, so she jacked it in. And this bit's the most interesting bit that I find. Your job gives you a bit of purpose, but once I had Lily, I thought, I don't want to be wasting my day in work when I could be watching her grow up, because her daughter gives her far deeper purpose and meaning than some 9 to 5 job. I mean, you can find an abstract amount of purpose in a 9 to 5 job. If I don't turn up at my desk, the TPS reports don't get filed, and then, accounting can't do this, and oh my goodness, isn't it just a bureaucratic catastrophe? But that's not really something that nourishes the soul, is it? It's not really something that makes one feel like a fully actualized human being, and it becomes like this sort of, you descend into the sort of Fight Club mentality where you're just in a daze just doing the same damn boring job every day. And I can see why the women who have to do that are looking at her with envy, that she's found real purpose and meaning, and in the process given her husband real purpose and meaning, and the team of which I'm sure will give their child a decent upbringing and give her emotional security, instead of just dumping her in a daycare with a bunch of other kids, to be watched over by someone who is just paid to make sure they don't hurt themselves. And I really, it's a real shame that the culture seems to have shifted away from women actually having the freedom to make these decisions as well. Like she says, the minute maternity leave ends, there's massive pressure to work. People look down on me for not working, almost as if I'm lazy. I see it very different. Yeah, I see it very different too. And I think that probably 10 years ago, I probably would have had a very similar opinion. But I suppose that I'm rediscovering the value of good parenting because I'm a parent myself. And I mean, I did kind of insist that my wife didn't get a job until my son goes to school, because I mean, when he's at school all day, obviously then she's not doing anything, she can go and work, she doesn't have to worry about it. But like for him, I really do want him raised by his parents, because they love them more than a nursery staff could possibly love them, and they actually care about these things. And I think that it's a healthy environment for the children. And I mean, good for her husband for being able to provide for the pair of them. That it's not them being lazy, it's them being a family unit. I mean, I bet she's doing things all day, every day. They're just not things that have a corporate dimension to them, which is probably why she looks so happy in her photos. And the thing about this story is she's not pretentious about it at all. She says, I'm very privileged to be able to stay at home and I enjoy homemaking. I was a housekeeper, so I like making my own house really nice. So I bet that she keeps a lovely house, she's got a happy kid, and obviously she's going to have a happy husband who comes back to a nice clean house every night, and everyone gets along and everyone is happy with this arrangement. And people at work are like, how dare you? How dare you have a happy, healthy family life where you guys have everything figured out, and I'm sat here at my desk worrying about the figures on my spreadsheets. Stop playing with your children so much. It makes me jealous. It makes me realize that a corporate life is really sapping the meaning and purpose out of my own. And the reason this is even being reported about is because this is a bizarre relationship they have now. We see it as our money and we run decisions past each other financially and things like this. And it's like, 50 years ago, this would have been totally the norm. Now, the Daily Mail are featuring this as a look at this strange social relationship that these people have. Isn't this bizarre? Why aren't these lunatics in cubicles?